शक्तिरूपेण संस्थिता नमस्तस्यै नमस्तस्यै नमो नमः.
Let us start our session on a true step towards women empowerment. For that, I would like to invite Mrs. Parvati ROSEN-BIZBERG, who is an intuitive artist and author from US, living at Eco Village, Bhrigu, Aranya, in the hills of southern Poland. Ma'am, you're the author of several books like Yoga and Meditation for Children, Messenger of the Sacred Fire. You have been a teacher for the underprivileged preschool children, an expert on art therapy, and practitioner of Agnihotra. Ma'am, you're constantly working on building international community life, creating sustainable future and networking, and helping people find the fire within and discover their creativity. Ma'am, please.
Okay, now. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much for the honor of being invited to speak. Please tell me if you can't hear me at any point. Since
Sorry,
okay.
ma'am.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is start with a short prayer that I wrote some time ago. It's how I often start my day, with prayer. Just writing from my heart. What a different world we live in now. One of isolation, one often punctuated by fear of what most definitely is the unknown. One often of insulation, as we remain in our homes, or at least in our towns, unable to travel freely throughout the world. We rely on internet, a great resource for reaching our loved ones and our friends, and even a way to comfort strangers who we don't know, who'd feel truly alone. My prayer is during this period of isolation, that we learn to access the inner space within, where clarity and vision reign supreme. And from the depths of that well of wisdom, we can emerge with kindness, with love, and a deeper appreciation for the simplicity of a loving touch, a warm hug, a sweet embrace, a hand held in comfort and solidarity during crisis, or simply to express friendship. We are not just islands in the storm. We are one people. Despite our vast differences in cultures, our wide range of time zones and seasons, our myriad of languages, our variety of religions and belief systems, our diverging political affiliations, our dietary preferences, our dreams, our hopes, our desires, and yet we are one. I pray that we strive to bridge gaps, to ford the great divides, and rise as one people on this earth with a greater appreciation and concern for the welfare of all humanity. And may we learn to cultivate a kinder relationship, not only with each other and with ourselves, but a respect and gentle ease with the noble animal kingdom. May we walk a little softer on this magnificent earth of ours. May we awaken to the need to protect our environment and band together as sisters to support this great planet. My dreams may be lofty and to some unrealistic, but I will not stop dreaming and envisioning a world of unity and purpose. I will continue to nurture and vocalize my prayers for this new earth, emerging from the stark reality that faces us all now. Prayers of love and compassion, hope, courage, and kindness to everyone. This is truly the time to be all we can be. With all love. So for me, prayer is one of the ways that I empower myself, because it's not mental power; it's a higher power, and that is the source of my strength, and the source of my hope, and the source of my love. So I started out. I grew up in Hanover, Pennsylvania, in the United States, and I remember as a child having a very strong sense of who I am, although I was really kind of beaten down by bullies and people who were discriminating. It was like a religious discrimination in the town I grew up in, and I had to be strong. So I really developed my wings, which was my art and my writing, and that helped me to rise above the fray. And I studied, early childhood and art therapy and so on. And I remember when I really hit a rough spot when I was 24, and I was living in Baltimore, Maryland. And I was suffering from a lot of depression and anxiety, kind of a 20s thing. And I found myself going to a psychiatric social worker who was absolutely wonderful, a very strong and loving woman who was actually blind. And one day she asked me to draw a mandala, do a mandala drawing. And she gave me the paper and with a circle drawn on it. And she gave me colors to draw with, which I found curious because she couldn't see those colors. And so I proceeded to draw this mandala, and it had a thick outer line, a green line. And it was a young woman reaching to try to break free of the circle. And I explained the drawing to her. And I said, but how are you going to understand this drawing? And she said, I used to be able to see till I had an accident. So I described the drawing, and I said, there's this girl reaching out, trying to get free from the boundaries of this circle, and she can't get out. And she said, oh, she must find a way. I'm sure there's a way. Look closely. And then I got excited and I said, oh, her foot is on top of a sun. And if she lifts her foot, the sun will rise, dissolve the circle, and she will be free. And that was kind of a lovely session. And it was a day or two after that, I was invited to a yoga class by Karen Webb, who was my boss at a health food restaurant, and she had shown me Agnihotra. I'm getting ahead of myself because what happened was I had really prayed for a way to help humanity, and I felt that my writing and my art were not enough. I wanted to help. I wanted to create something. I wanted to be a part of something greater. something more healing for the environment and for the world. And then, so that's when I found Agnihotra, which is a Ayurvedic fire that's done at sunrise and sunset in a copper pyramid. And I was so changed by this fire. I began to do it regularly in my home, and I actually was very bad asthmatic, had serious asthma, and but the fire, made me be able to breathe better. So it was a curious thing that smoke would help a asthmatic breathe better. So anyway, what happened was I returned. Oh, the psychiatric social worker was concerned about me. She felt that at that point I needed to possibly go into a hospital because I couldn't control my depression. I was just all the time with, thinking, and I would break down crying anywhere I was. And then she told me I needed to possibly be checked at the hospital. So 2 weeks after I started Agnihotra, I went back to the psychiatric social worker who I'd missed the previous appointment. And I went to her and she was shocked. And she said to me, I have no idea what you've been doing, but you not only don't need to go to the hospital, but you don't really need to see me anymore. Because there was such a transformation. She was really overjoyed. And interesting that the mandala that I had drawn 2 weeks earlier was of the sun underneath my foot. I lifted the foot and the sun dissolved the circle and freed me from this really paralyzing depression. And it just got better from there. I didn't return to that depressive state. It was like a miracle. It was suddenly lifted. And also the asthma that I'd had since I was 9 years old. And I used to have to go for breathing treatments at the hospital and injections of epinephrine. And it was absolutely incredible. The asthma was completely healed. And I remain to this day asthma-free many years later. So that was the beginning of a transformation for me. And to be able to start to really, truly become all I can be. I hear a lot of noise. Thank you. So I started to work with children with art therapy. And I also, at the time, I met Sri Vasant Paranjape, who was traveling all over the world propagating Agnihotra in every country. He was guided by his Sadguru, Parama Sadguru Sri Gajananand Maharaj of Akalka. So he, when I met him, it was also like a miracle. He just knew who I was immediately, and I had the grace of being able to travel with him all over the world. I traveled with him first to Germany and later to other countries in Europe, and then finally to India, where I lived in India for 1.5 years in several different places. And I started writing more. I wrote yoga and meditation for children. And when I returned to the United States, I worked with troubled children and preschool children and juvenile delinquent boys in a group home. And I started to be able to reach them and not just teach them, but but I found that the most powerful way of helping another person is to listen to them. And I also feel that in order to help myself, I apply the same thing that I do to children. I learn to listen to myself. I learn to listen to my dreams and my ideas and my hopes. I learn to listen to my fears also, so that I can face them and help to heal them and find solutions for them. I also find that meeting with women, with my sisters, is one of the most empowering things that I can do. And here in our eco village, Brugorania, here in the hills of Poland, where I never envisioned myself being, but that's another story. We meet as women. We have a women's gathering, a women's circle every Thursday in the evening. And we gather, we sit with the fire, we sing, we chant, we do mandala drawings, we support each other, we plant gardens, and we just celebrate each other and listen to each other. And I find it very empowering because we live in a world where often women are taught to compete with each other. And you can't get ahead by competing with your sisters. You learn to look at them and you see yourself in the mirror and they see themselves in you. And I think we need to learn to listen to each other and care for each other more, support each other. And it has been one of the most empowering things in my life to be able to have that sisterhood. I can say that I wouldn't be here without my sisters. So now I'm, much older, and this is a real special time in my life when I find interesting that I have even more dreams, more ideas. I think I have an idea a minute, and I'm excited to be able to fulfill those dreams and to write all the poems waiting to be written, draw all the drawings waiting to be drawn. Speak my truth and listen to the children, care for the children, support the children, and grow because there's no end. I mean, you think as you grow older, you grow more complacent or more willing to settle for the mundane or or just sitting back in a rocking chair watching time go by. But that's not me. And I support other women's dreams and other women's visions of their lives. Because there's no time limit on dreams. So at this point, I'd like to ask if anyone has any comments or questions, because I love listening.
Not the chat.
Is that?
Yeah. No, sorry. your messenger of the sacred fire.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Any queries will be answered in the comment section. Thank you so much, ma'am, for letting us know your experience, and your story has so much to learn and motivate from. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.